Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we cut through the noise. Today, we're plunging into the legend of a piece of gear that's, well, distinctive, definitely controversial, and ultimately revered. The Boss HM2 Heavy Metal Pedal.
Yeah, it's really more than just a pedal, isn't it? It's a sound that defined a whole generation of heavy music, and carved out this unique sonic identity globally.
Right. So our mission today is to unpack how this little yellow box, which, let's be honest, got a lot of mixed reviews at first,
A lot of mixed reviews.
how it climbed up to become this legendary thing.
Okay, so picture this. It's 1983. Boss, part of Roland, they dropped something totally new, the HM2 Heavy Metal.
And get this, it was the very first pedal, like ever, to actually have heavy metal written on it.
Exactly. It was specifically designed to capture those, evolving high-gain sounds popping up in the early metal scene.
What a bold move for back then.
Totally. And the fascinating part is when it came out, it was just radically different from anything else available. Your standard overdrives, distortions, they just weren't doing this.
So players found it too much.
Yeah, many found it too extreme. Some said buzzy. It definitely wasn't an instant mainstream smash hit, not by any stretch.
So given that kind of lukewarm, maybe even negative initial reaction, how did it end up with such a fierce, dedicated following, especially in like the Swedish death metal scene?
Ah, yeah.
What was it about that sound, that buzziness that turned into the iconic chainsaw tone?
Well, that's where the magic really starts. To get it, you kind of need to look under the hood.
Mhm.
The HM2, it's not just a simple distortion.
Right.
It's actually a dual-stage distortion pedal. And crucially, it has this really powerful, very uniquely voiced EQ section.
Okay, the EQ, that's key.
Absolutely key. Because unlike other pedals, it didn't just boost things, it carved out a sound, very mid-scooped, but with this aggressive top end. And that sound just perfectly cut through dense mixes. It totally complemented that raw, down-tuned, palm-muted style that was emerging over in Sweden.
So it wasn't about warmth, it was about brutality.
Pretty much. Brutal clarity and saturation, which was exactly the sonic identity that whole genre was building.
Okay, you mentioned dual stage distortion. Can you walk us through that a bit? How does that create the massive saturation and that thick compressed sound?
Sure. So you've got two distinct distortion stages. One is soft clipping that gives it a bit of a smoother, maybe more organic kind of breakup initially.
Okay.
But then there's a hard clipping stage.
Mhm.
And that provides the really aggressive, almost square wave type distortion.
Gotcha.
Combine those, and you get massive saturation.
Yeah.
Yeah, really thick, very compressed tone. Technically, it uses silicon diodes in what's called a symmetrical clipping configuration. That contributes a lot to that distinct, unforgiving character.
And the knobs, because dialing this thing in is almost as famous as the sound itself, right? Especially for the true believers.
Oh, absolutely. It's got four knobs. You've got level, which is just your output volume. Then distortion, which is the gain, takes it from, kind of gritty all the way up to full buzzsaw.
And then the color mix knobs.
Right, the two color mix knobs. L for the low-end frequencies and H for the high-end. Then you've got Boss's standard buffered bypass, which, helps keep your signal strong with long cables even when it's off. Standard 9V power.
Ah, the color mix. That really is where the magic, or maybe I should say the mayhem, happens, isn't it?
Precisely. That HM2 signature sound, it's defined by that scooped low end, that fuzzy but super aggressive top end, and just intense saturation.
But the setting.
Yeah, the legendary setting, the one that launched like 1,000 metal wrists. It's the all knobs at 2 o'clock, or more famously, everything dimed, everything maxed out.
Right.
When you crank those color mix knobs, especially the high one, that's when you get that noisy, super compressed, aggressive chainsaw tone. Absolutely perfect for tight, palm-muted riffing. It just slices through everything. Not subtle at all.
Yeah, not subtle. A sound that radical, that unique. It almost demanded its own journey through time, right? Where did the story go from there?
It really did. So the original production, the much sought-after Black Label units, those were made in Japan from 1983 up to 1988.
Okay, the collector's items.
Exactly. Collectors prize those for the tone, the build quality, the whole package.
Then production moved, didn't it? Was there a noticeable difference when that happened?
It did move. From 88 to 91, they were made in Taiwan.
Mm.
Now, some hardcore enthusiasts will claim there are subtle differences, maybe component sourcing or something. But honestly, to most players' ears, the tone was pretty much identical. But then in 1991, Boss discontinued it, made way for the HM3.
Ah.
And for a long time, it seemed like, well, that was the end of the HM2 story.
But as often happens with cult classics, being discontinued wasn't really the end, was it? There's this pretty extraordinary twist later on, almost unheard of, really.
It's actually amazing. The demand for this pedal, it just never really went away. It bubbled into the surface, and then boom, 2021. The Boss HM2 makes this triumphant return as part of their Wah the Craft series.
The Wazacraft line, right, high-end reissues.
Exactly. And this wasn't just Boss deciding to bring it back. This was a direct result of years of players demanding it. There was literally a fan campaign from the metal community pushing for it.
No way, a fan campaign.
Yeah, it was kind of a first for Boss. Really showed how much power that community voice had. It sort of set a new precedent for reissues based on player demand.
That's incredible, a real testament to its enduring appeal. So, the Waza version, what did they do? Just clone the original circuit, or?
They did a smart thing. They listened, but they also added some modern touches. The Wazacraft HM2W, it has a standard mode that faithfully recreates the original circuit, the classic sound.
Okay.
But then flick a switch, and you're in custom mode. That offers enhanced dynamics, a bit more definition, maybe a slightly modernized tone if you want a little more clarity, without losing the core character.
Interesting.
Plus, it's built back in Japan, premium components, and crucially for many today, it has true bypass. So your signal is totally untouched when the pedal's off.
Right. True bypass is a big deal for a lot of players now, so it really cemented its legacy even further. Okay, let's talk Swedish Chainsaw. You just can't discuss the HM2 without digging into that huge cultural impact. It's basically synonymous with a whole genre.
Oh, absolutely. Without a doubt. The HM2's biggest cultural footprint is definitely its role as the defining sound of Swedish death metal. Particularly that whole Stockholm scene, late 80s, early 90s. It wasn't just a pedal they used, it was like a core ingredient.
So who are the main bands? Who strapped this thing on first and really unleashed it?
Well, the band Entombed, on their classic 1990 album Left Hand Path, that album basically defined the guitar tone using the HM2. And their method became legendary. Run the pedal into a solid-state amp, all knobs cranked.
Maxed out the setting.
The setting. That created the infamous buzzsaw grind. And then you had other Stockholm icons, Dismember, Bloodbath, Grave, Carnage, Unleashed. They all used the HM2. It was just inseparable from their sound. Totally devastating.
And wasn't there a key producer involved in capturing that sound on record?
Yes, absolutely. Thomas Skogsberg at Sunlight Studio, he engineered so many of those classic HM2-driven albums. He was really crucial in capturing and kind of refining that unique sonic signature in the studio. But, the HM2's influence didn't stop there. It was early death metal. Modern heavy bands still use it or pay tribute to it. Think Mastodon, Rotten Sound, Nails, Trap Them.
Even Kurt Ballou from Converge, right, uses it for more industrial sounds.
Exactly. Kurt Ballou uses it for these really aggressive, almost industrial-inspired textures. Shows it has reach beyond just pure death metal.
And the amp pairing is pretty specific, too, usually. You mentioned solid state before. You're not usually trying to get warm tube sounds with this thing.
Precisely. Yeah, you're going for sheer impact. So often paired with solid state amps or sometimes even plugged directly into the recording interface.
Direct. Wow.
Yeah, it allows for the most brutal, jagged saturation possible. You bypass any tube warmth or organic breakup that might sort of soften that aggressive chainsaw edge. It's all about raw, unfiltered power.
Makes total sense for that sound. Okay, so before the Wazacraft reissue brought it back officially, the original HM2 was discontinued for decades. And like we see with other legendary gear, that usually sparks a big DIY and clone scene, right?
Oh, it definitely did. The HM2's cult status, combined with it being unavailable new for so long, inspired this huge wave of boutique clones and custom versions.
Any example jump out?
Sure. You've got everything from super affordable options like the Behringer HM300. It's a really inexpensive clone. Loads of people use it, all the way up to high-end boutique pedals that put their own spin on the circuit.
Like what? What are some of those boutique names?
Well, there's the DHM3 by Dunwich Amps, the Lone Wolf Audio, Left Hand Wrath, great name, right?
Ah, yeah.
Licklarum Audio The Throne, Wampler Dracaries,
Yeah.
all drawing heavily from that HM2 DNA. And then you have related stuff like the JHS Haunting Heads. It's not a direct clone, but it was partly developed kind of in response to the HM2's very specific mid-scoop, offering really powerful mid-EQ control.
Right. And for the real gearheads, you can even build your own or mod them. Sounds like a whole community keeping that sound alive.
Totally. The online communities have picked apart the HM2 circuit like crazy.
Yeah.
You can find mod kits everywhere for swapping diodes, reshaping the tone stack, adding clean blend circuits, all sorts of things. It's a total staple for DIY pedal builders, especially anyone focused on extreme metal tones.
It's just incredible how a pedal that, as you said, wasn't a mainstream hit at first, even got dismissed by some, how it
Yeah.
built such a profound, lasting legacy. What flipped? How did the perception change so much over the years?
It really is something. Yeah, the HM2 just wasn't a mainstream success initially. A lot of players back in the 80s honestly found it too noisy, too unruly for what they were doing, more traditional rock or metal. But its unique voice, its completely unapologetic aggressiveness,
Yeah.
that gave it this lasting underground appeal. It found its perfect home with musicians who embraced the extremity instead of trying to tame it.
And that underground appeal just grew and grew until it became, well, a proper classic, right? Went from niche curiosity to highly sought after collectible.
It absolutely did. You saw it in the vintage market. Prices for original Japanese units just skyrocketed through the 2010s.
Right.
You see it in the culture around it, the memes, the slogans like Swedish Chainsaw, all knobs on 10. And what's really interesting now is seeing it pop up on pedal boards way outside of metal. Noise artists, industrial, shoegaze, even drone. People looking for unconventional textures are finding uses for it.
Shows its unexpected versatility, I guess, even in its extremity. So if we zoom out, connect this to the bigger picture, what's the ultimate significance of this little yellow box in the grand scheme of guitar effects? What does its journey tell us about innovation?
Well, I think the Boss HM2 Heavy Metal,
Mm-hmm.
it isn't just another distortion pedal. It's genuinely a genre-defining weapon. It fundamentally shaped a global sound. What was initially seen as harsh, maybe flawed, became the absolute foundation for Swedish death metal and influenced heavy guitar culture way beyond that. Its sound is instantly recognizable. Its knobs are practically meant to be maxed out.
Mm-hmm.
And as we talked about that Wazacraft reissue, driven by the fans, it just cemented its legendary status.
Yeah.
It really proves that sometimes a piece of gear's true potential isn't realized until it finds its perfect, maybe unconventional musical partner.
From those grimy basements where it first found its voice to sold-out arenas worldwide, the HM2 really does stand as the symbol of raw, unapologetic sonic aggression.
It does.
And its whole journey kind of hammers home that point, doesn't it? That sometimes in music and innovation generally, the biggest breakthroughs don't come from what's immediately popular or easily accepted. They come from what's initially dismissed as just too much, too noisy, too unconventional.
Makes you wonder, right?
Yeah, what other unconventional sounds are out there right now, just waiting for the right artist or the right moment to unlock their own legendary potential? Something to think about.